Okay, namaste everyone. Thank you all for attending this live webinar on presented by BarBri in collaboration with Milo. And my name is Hemant Chauhan. I work for BarBri. I've been with BarBri for nearly 2.5 years. And I'm going to be talking about dual qualification in today's legal market, in particular for the Indian legal market, for Indian lawyers and law graduates. Just a bit of background about BarBri. We are a 50-year-old company, or we've been set up as a legal training organization for over 50 years. We've been delivering bar review for a very long time. And we are well known for US bar prep, preparing candidates from in the States as well as all around the world who want to qualify as US qualified attorneys. And BarBri are very well known for that. So we're very, very popular in the States, across the law schools, the law firms, judges, professors, as well as worldwide. Everyone knows about BarBri's and our BarBri with our US bar prep courses. We have a staggering 1.3 million alumni. We set up in 1967 with only 17 students. And to date, we now have an amazing network of alumni, over 1.3 million. We trained past presidents such as Barack Obama, who has taken the BarBri prep course to become a qualified US attorney, senators, mayors, successful judges, successful lawyers who have gone into successful careers by taking a BarBri prep course. 5 years ago, we set up internationally in London to really cater towards the London, the UK, and the wider international global market, because we've now seen there's a pressing need for many foreign lawyers and foreign law graduates who want to qualify in the US. And the reason why is the US law firms have really started to expand worldwide. They're almost dominating the corporate legal landscape, setting up big offices in London, Paris, Dubai, Singapore, all that. And so that's paved the way for many foreign lawyers and law graduates to qualify in the US to further their careers, etc. And in doing so, setting up internationally, we have now introduced English legal qualifications for those who want to qualify as English solicitors. We started off offering the Qualified Lawyers Transfer Scheme, which I'll be talking in some detail in this presentation, for foreign lawyers who want to qualify as solicitors in England. And from next year, we'll be offering the Solicitors Qualifying Exam, which will be a new qualification that has been implemented by the Solicitors Regulation Authority for all foreign candidates and all English law graduates and non-law graduates who want to qualify as a solicitor. So firstly, I'm going to be talking what and why dual qualify in the United States, as a US attorney. Now, just to be clear, we mainly offer for foreign candidates, New York and California. Those two states are the most receptive to foreign candidates and hold a moderately open door policy for foreign lawyers and or graduates who want to qualify in the States. So for the New York bar, to qualify in New York, you must sit the New York bar exam, and to be eligible, generally you need a 3 or 4 year full-time common law degree to be eligible. And although India is a common law jurisdiction, primarily based on the English legal system, the New York Board of Law Examiners don't recognize Indian law degrees as compatible with their criteria. So they ask Indian applicants to evidence and complete a 1-year LLM in the States at an ABA accredited law school. Once you completed that LLM, those candidates then sit for the New York bar exam. Now, in particular, New York, it's considered the largest, most profitable legal market in the world. It's a global financial center. It underpins a lot of cross-border transactional deals. It's the home to financial law, commercial law. And I would say that if you want to expand your services as a lawyer, particularly in corporate law, for example, New York is certainly a jurisdiction where lawyers should qualify into because of the global nature that New York has across many transactional deals. The US banks, hedge funds, the corporate law firms do like the New York bar exam for that it's so appealing to so many contractual deals across the world. And there's a lot of New York headquartered law firms that have made way into the emerging markets. Of course, London, but then of course they've expanded into the Middle East like Dubai. Singapore is a thriving jurisdiction now, and Hong Kong as well. So there's a lot of benefits with New York qualification. It's certainly good if you want to practice in capital markets or international arbitration or corporate litigation. And certainly you would do very well to become dual qualified in New York, in addition to Indian legal qualification as well. But also it's very good for human rights law as well. For example, the United Nations is headquartered in New York. So we do have a lot of people who enroll with BarBri to take the New York bar with the aim of practicing as a human rights lawyer. And so the New York bar is very appealing to that. In addition to criminal law as well. It has a relatively high crime rate, but that makes criminal law a very attractive practice area as well. So it's very good for those particular type of practice areas. Going into the California bar exam, to be eligible, you need to be a qualified lawyer in your home jurisdiction. So if you are a Indian qualified lawyer in your home jurisdiction, then you can sit and take the California bar exam. However, you can also take a one-year LLM if you're not yet an Indian qualified lawyer. I do realize some Indian lawyers who are already qualified do anyway go to the US to take a one-year LLM first before they sit the California bar exam. But it doesn't have to be the case. Once you're a qualified lawyer in India, you can sit the California bar exam. And California is it's a thriving jurisdiction now. And it's certainly growing in legal practice. And there's a big hub for financial technology, fintech, with the growth of Silicon Valley, like Apple and Google, for example. And a lot of tech companies have really made movement in the California market. Recently, Magic Circle law firm Freshfields, for example, has opened their offices, a new office in Silicon Valley, because they understand that it's a thriving jurisdiction for that particular type of practice. And so there's a big market there, generally. It's also good for intellectual property law, entertainment law, media, and sports law, and the likes of that. So California is certainly a thriving jurisdiction. Just to emphasize, you must sit and pass a US bar exam like New York or California, as well as the admission requirements to qualify in those states. Generally, US bar exams in total are 2 days long. New York bar, for example, is a uniform bar exam, which tests you on majority principles of national federal common law. California, on the other hand, is a state-specific bar exam. So in addition to testing you on national principles of federal common law, it will also assess you on California state law for the essay portion of the bar exam. Both exams, New York, for example, is a 12-hour bar exam, 6 hours for each day, 2 consecutive days. California bar exam is a 12.5-hour bar exam. The first day is 6.5 hours, the second day is 6 hours. So it's very intense, but certainly it's a great qualification to have in the long run. Now, one of our alumni, his name is Shashwat Patel, he's counsel and head of India. group at Simmons and Simmons, which is a large corporate law firm in the London office. He is a triple qualified lawyer in India, the US, and England and Wales. And his background to qualification was quite unique, and I thought it made for a very good story. He grew up in a relatively small town in India. He qualified in 2009, and he joined this law firm in Mumbai as a corporate associate. But he wanted to become more international. So first, he then went to take an LLM from Columbia Law School in New York. And then after that, he sat the New York bar exam, and he qualified there. So that really helped him expand his credentials, his ability to practice cross-border transactional deals as a corporate lawyer. And it was a very good move for him overall. So he is one of many Indian lawyers, as an example, who have taken an LLM in the States to then write for the New York bar exam and then qualify there to give them a much more international perspective. So that's a very good story that he has. And then he later went on to qualify as a lawyer in England, which I'll talk a little bit later on. But it's a good story for many of you who are considering to expand your international credentials, that if you want to become more global and you want to expand, if you're a corporate lawyer, for example, or you're an aspiring corporate lawyer, the New York bar is certainly a very appealing option if you want to become more global. And it increases your opportunities in the long term. It's a long-term qualification. It can certainly expand your credentials in the future. Now, with English qualification, which BarBri offers prep courses for, if you're a qualified lawyer in India, the Qualified Lawyers Transfer Scheme is available until 2021. Just to expand on the QLTS in short, it's a program that is designed for foreign qualified lawyers who want to qualify as solicitors, and it bypasses the training contract requirement. So some of you may know that to qualify as a solicitor in England, the traditional route is to complete the legal practice course, which is a one-year practical course in England. And then you progress onto a 2-year training contract in a law firm. You complete 4 to 6 seats, and then you qualify as a solicitor after 2 years. However, the QLTS is very beneficial because you just pass the assessments and there's no training contract requirement. So once you pass the QLTS, you can then apply for admission as a solicitor. So it's a very beneficial qualification if you're already a practicing lawyer in India and you want to qualify or dual qualify as a solicitor in England and Wales. The reason why it's expiring in 2021 is because the SRA, as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, are implementing a new qualification called the Solicitors Qualifying Exam, the SQE in short. It's a new qualification from 2021 and it will override the QLTS. This is going to be the new qualification, the new benchmark of English qualification going forward. We expect to see the LPC will drop out in terms of numbers, as well as the GDL potentially as well. And the SQE is going to be the new mass route for aspiring solicitors. Whether you're an English law grad, an English non-law grad, or an Indian lawyer or Indian law or non-law graduate, this is going to be the new route. So if you're already a qualified lawyer in India, I would suggest, and you're looking to dual qualify in England, I would suggest going through the QLTS as soon as possible before it's too late. However, in the long term, if you're an Indian law or non-law graduate, such as if you studied something like commerce or business or economics or philosophy or something like that, you can write for the Solicitors Qualifying Exam, which will also be offering a prep course for from 2021. In terms of the assessments, the QLTS is divided into 2 stages. The first stage is the multiple choice test on English law. The second stage is a practical test called the OSCE, which tests your legal skills, such as drafting, interviewing, and various other skills that a solicitor does. The SQE does a similar route assessment as well. SQE Stage 1 is a multiple choice test on English law, and SQE Stage 2 is a legal skills assessment on, again, solicitor skills such as advocacy, interviewing, drafting, legal writing, legal research, and all that. But in addition, the SQE will also require the candidate to complete 2 years of qualifying work experience, which means any legal experience that you've picked up in England could be paralegal work, legal assistant work, advisory work, compliance work in a bank, for example, as long as it's supervised by a solicitor and it's 2 years. In addition to passing the SQE assessments, then you can qualify as a solicitor in England. The reason why you want to qualify as a solicitor in England, moving from the assessments aside, is that English law provides a lot of certainty in international commercial contracts. It arguably is still the favored choice of law in international commercial contracts. English court judgments give a lot of certainty. They're not as litigious, arguably, as in the States, as in New York. So it provides a lot of certainty, and it's always, generally in contracts, the most preferred choice of law. Moving back to Shashwat Patel's example, after he qualified in New York, he moved to London in 2012 to join a law firm in London. And then he wrote the QLTS exam to qualify as a solicitor. And he thought it made sense to qualify in the jurisdiction of practice. And as he says, English law is the most preferred choice of law from a cross-border transactional perspective. So as you can see, he's had a fairly global route, you could say, to triple qualification. First started off as a qualified lawyer in India, wrote his LLM in New York, and then wrote for the New York bar, passed that, qualified there, and now he's practicing in London, passing the QLTS along the way. And he's done very well. And now he's head of the India group for a large corporate law firm in London. So it's certainly a global perspective that he's had, as well as other many Indian lawyers as well in total, have passed the QLTS and now working as successful solicitors in England. So generally, why would you pursue a foreign qualification? The first point, I think, is fairly straightforward. You want to distinguish yourself from the crowd. Many lawyers in India, for example, just focus on the Indian route to qualification. And of course, that's essential if you want to practice as a lawyer in India. But if you want to become more global, if you want to become more international, you certainly want to pursue a foreign qualification via the US bar exam or the QLTS, or even both. It's a good way to strengthen your CV, and it will open more doors and opportunities along the way. It's a good way of professional development. And if you look at that statistic, 10 to 15% of all admission to the role of solicitors in England is through the QLTS. That's quite a huge proportion of foreign candidates who are qualifying by the QLTS. As I mentioned earlier, QLTS is expiring in 2021. At BarBri, I am seeing a huge surge now of international lawyers who want to qualify via the QLTS before it's too late, because in effect, 2021 is the last year of English qualification by the QLTS. So I imagine that statistic will probably go up. The second point is global relevance. It provides you international portability. You're able to move from different jurisdictions. A lot of cross-border transactions are governed either under New York law or English law. And of course, English law is a favored, preferred choice of law through its global reputation. The fact that it provides a lot of certainty, and many lawyers rely on English contracts to underpin a lot of international transactions in total. And third, overall, this will improve your employability. We have a huge, vast network of alumni who have taken a BarBri prep course, either for the US bar exam or for the QLTS. Many of them have now gone on to successful careers, either working in private practice or large law firms, or in-house, which is the banks or the hedge funds or large corporations. And there's a demand that continues to grow for lawyers who can work across jurisdictions. Sometimes if you want to become more global, being qualified in your home jurisdiction is not enough. You need more qualifications on your belt, under your belt, such as a US bar exam or English qualification. Thank you all for listening. I'll take some questions, and just to let you know, we are running some future webinars in this month on Friday, 21st of August, at the same time, 3:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. My colleague Chris is going to be talking about careers in the US and English legal markets, and he's going to really expand on what opportunities there are for Indian lawyers and law graduates as well in both markets. And on Friday, 28th of August, at the same time, I'll be talking again about our QLTS programs and our SQE programs with BarBri as well, to give you more understanding of what the qualifications entail, the assessments, the costs, and all that. Thank you all for listening. Happy to take any questions. So, see, a question here is from Sushil. So, you say, for those who want to qualify as a solicitor in England, but do not want to spend 2 years there, would it be better to do the QLTS rather than the SQE? Yeah, I would say so, yes, because the QLTS is going to be the cheapest and quickest route to qualification. If you don't want to spend the 2 years in England going through the 2 years of qualifying work experience, then I would say do the QLTS now before it's too late. I'm assuming that you're probably already an Indian qualified lawyer. Yes, you would want to take the QLTS before it's too late, as opposed to spending the 2 years in London or somewhere else in England. And you also asked, why BarBri? Well, in the first slide, I expanded on the fact that we are a international, global legal education company. And we have been in the business of legal education for over 50 years. We've developed a very strong program, particularly for the US bar, but we've now modeled our QLTS and future SQE prep courses based on the US bar prep courses that we've had tremendous success with. Now, if you think about it, the SQA and the QLTS assessments, one portion of them are multiple choice, and because a large portion of the US bar exams are multiple choice, and we've been doing that for over 50 years, that success has translated onto those English qualifications. So we have a lot of experience with multiple choice test taking. It's a different skill as opposed to writing a law school essay, for example. How do you tackle the multiple choice question? We have the expertise, the methodology, and know-how how to prepare candidates for that particular proportion of the bar exam, and for the QLTS and SQE assessments as well. So we have a lot of success. We also give you a one-to-one mentor on our programs for international candidates. So to prepare you for the exams, to get you ready, exam ready. And we give you a lot of support and exam technique and focus in our programs. Plus, the programs are continuously being monitored as well. So I think that hopefully answers your question. And please, can you highlight the difference between QLTS and SQE? So the differences are QLTS just requires a foreign lawyer to qualify as a solicitor by just taking the QLTS assessments. There's no training contract requirement, or there's no work experience requirement. The SQE, effective from 2021, requires the candidates to evidence 2 years of qualifying work experience in England, in addition to passing the assessments. So the SQE is longer, and it takes time to qualify as a solicitor, as opposed to the QLTS, which is why I'm now seeing a huge amount of lawyers who are enrolling on our QLTS prep courses before it's too late, before 2021. And here here I see that for those who want to qualify as a solicitor in England, but do not want to spend 2 years there, it would be better to do the QLTS than the SQE. Yes, that's correct. Please highlight the difference between QLTS and that. How would you define a licensed and a qualified lawyer? I work in India, but I'm not licensed. Would I not be eligible for the state bar exams in the US? Well, for California, they require you to be a licensed lawyer. So you must have a bar membership number with the India Bar Association. So you must have a practicing certificate and a certificate of good standing to prove that you are eligible for the California bar, for example. And that is the same for the QLTS. When you write the QLTS assessments and you pass that and you're making your application to the SRA, they are going to be wanting to see a practicing certificate that you are a practicing lawyer in India, as well as a certificate of good standing, which you can obtain from India as well. What is the cutoff for appearing for the QLTS? Is 2021 the cutoff for appearing for registering? I'll expand this in my webinar on the 28th of August, but just very quickly, the first stage of the QLTS assessments, the multiple choice test, is tested twice a year in January and July. The last MCT assessment, according to the SRA, is July 2021. So you must have passed the first stage of the QLTS by July 2021. After that, it's too late. And then they've given you a 1-year transitional period to undertake the second stage of the QLTS no later than the summer of 2022. So you get a 1-year transition period to the summer of 2022 to complete the QLTS assessments. But it's very important that you pass the first stage no later than the summer of 2021. That is the cutoff point. If you give the MCT in January, do you have to compulsory complete the OSCE before September? That is correct, yes. The SRA haven't exactly been entirely clear on this, and I'm finding further answers from them. But the understanding at present is this, that if you pass the MCT in January 2021, you must pass the OSCE no later than the summer of 2021. So, and then you must apply for admission no later than 31st of August 2021. So I hope that answers your question. Any other questions? Rough idea of costs involved. Is that for the US bar or for the QLTS? I imagine it probably is for the QLTS. Yeah, okay. So QLTS, again, I'll go into fees later on 28th of August, but for the purpose of the question, the MCT costs £1,850 with BarBri. We offer a 3- and 6-month prep course for the MCT. Again, you get a lot of benefits with that, which I will expand on in the webinar on the 28th. And the exam fee for the MCT payable towards Kaplan is £588 plus VAT, which brings it over just £700. And then the second assessment, which is the OSCE, we charge £1,950 as long as you've taken the MCT with BarBri, so just under £2,000. And then we offer, the exam fee is pretty hefty for the OSCE. It's payable towards Kaplan, it's £3,042 plus VAT, so basically £3,600. So that is the overall cost for the QLTS. Any other questions? Oh yes, how would you define a licensed lawyer? Yeah, so I've just answered that. So you must be a licensed lawyer and you must hold a practicing certificate. Okay, I think that's all the questions. thank you all for listening. I hope you all enjoyed it. Um, if you do have any more questions, feel free. I believe Nicole will give you all my email address anyway, and our contact details, but you can always visit our website as indicated in my in the presentation, www.barbri.com. And my colleague Chris will see you all on the 21st of August to talk about specifically careers in the US and English legal markets. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it.